Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, thinking about someone who ignored you, criticized you, or walked away from your life? Have you spent hours wondering what people think about you, playing conversations in your mind, or trying to understand why someone treated you unfairly? If so, you are not alone. Many people carry invisible burdens, not because of what actually happened, but because of what they continue to think about every single day. One of the biggest reasons people lose their peace is because they become too attached to the opinions of others. They constantly wonder what people think about them, whether they are liked, accepted, admired, or respected. They replay conversations in their minds, analyze every reaction, and try to adjust themselves to gain approval. But the reality of life is that people's opinions are unstable and constantly changing. Someone may praise you today and criticize you tomorrow. A person may support you when things are going well and disappear when difficulties come. If you build your happiness on the approval of people, your emotions will rise and fall with every comment, every look, and every opinion. That is why a believer should remember that Allah never changes. Allah knows your intentions, your struggles, your tears, and your efforts even when nobody else does. People often judge based on appearances, rumors, or temporary emotions, but Allah judges with perfect knowledge and perfect justice. When you focus too much on pleasing people, you may start compromising your values, hiding your true self, or neglecting what is right. You may become exhausted trying to satisfy everyone, only to discover that it is impossible. No matter how good you are, some people will still misunderstand you, criticize you, or dislike you. The Quran repeatedly reminds us that honor, dignity, and success come from Allah. When your heart is connected to Allah, you become less dependent on human validation. You still treat people with kindness and respect, but you no longer allow their opinions to control your self-worth. Instead of asking, "Do people approve of me?" ask yourself, "Is Allah pleased with my actions?" That question brings freedom to the heart. Imagine how much mental energy is wasted worrying about what others think. That same energy could be used for prayer, learning, helping family, improving your character, and pursuing meaningful goals. The more you seek Allah's pleasure, the less you become trapped by the changing opinions of people. A person who knows their value before Allah walks with greater confidence, patience, and peace. They understand that praise and criticism are both temporary, but the reward and approval of Allah are eternal. Many people carry unnecessary stress because they spend too much time overthinking other people's words, actions, and silence. A delayed reply to a message becomes a reason for anxiety. A simple change in someone's tone becomes a source of endless questions. We begin creating stories in our minds that may have no connection to reality. We ask ourselves, did I do something wrong? Are they upset with me? Why did they ignore me? These thoughts keep repeating until they steal our peace, our focus, and even our sleep. In many cases, the situations we fear never actually happen. Our minds become trapped by assumptions rather than facts. This is one of the ways overthinking drains the heart. Instead of living in the present and appreciating Allah's blessings, we become prisoners of imaginary problems. We waste precious hours analyzing people who may not even realize we are thinking about them. Every minute spent worrying about someone else's behavior is a minute that could have been used to strengthen our relationship with Allah, improve our knowledge, support our family, or work toward our goals. Islam teaches us to have good expectations of others and to avoid baseless suspicion. We are not responsible for controlling every person's thoughts or actions. Every individual has their own struggles, responsibilities, and circumstances that we may never know about. Sometimes a person is simply busy, tired, or dealing with personal difficulties. Yet our minds often choose the worst possible explanation, creating pain where none was intended. Trusting Allah brings a different perspective. When something is beyond your control, leave it in His hands. If someone appreciates you, be grateful. If someone misunderstands you, despite your sincere intentions, Continue doing what is right and let Allah be your witness. Your peace should never depend on whether every person responds the way you expect. It should depend on your confidence that Allah knows your heart and rewards every sincere effort. A peaceful heart is one that focuses on what it can control. You can control your character, your words, your actions, and your intentions. You cannot control how every person feels about you or how they choose to behave. Once you accept this truth, a huge burden is lifted from your shoulders. Instead of filling your mind with endless questions about people, fill your heart with remembrance of Allah, gratitude for His blessings, and determination to become a better believer each day. The less space you give to unnecessary overthinking, the more room you create for faith, productivity, and true inner peace. One of the greatest mistakes people make is allowing others to decide how valuable they are. A single compliment makes them feel important, while one criticism makes them feel worthless. They measure their confidence by how many people appreciate them, support them, or speak well of them. This creates an emotional roller coaster where their happiness depends entirely on human approval. But as believers, we are taught that our true value does not come from people. It comes from the one who created us. Allah created every human being with honor and purpose. Your worth was never meant to be determined by someone's opinion, social status, popularity, or acceptance. People only see a small part of your life. They see your appearance, your words, or your mistakes. But Allah sees your sincerity, your repentance, your hidden acts of worship, and every struggle you face in silence. He knows the tears you have cried when no one was watching, the prayers you whispered in the middle of the night, and the efforts you made to stay on the right path despite life's challenges. This is why seeking validation from people can never satisfy the heart. Human beings are imperfect. Their opinions are influenced by emotions, personal experiences, misunderstandings, and sometimes even jealousy. Someone may overlook all the good you have done because of one mistake. Another person may judge you without knowing your intentions. If you make people the source of your confidence, your peace will disappear whenever they disappoint you. But when your confidence is rooted in Allah, no criticism can destroy your self-worth, because you know that your Creator understands you completely. There will always be people who misunderstand your intentions, question your decisions, or fail to appreciate your efforts. Even the prophets, who were the best of humanity, faced rejection, insults, and false accusations. If such righteous people were criticized despite their noble character, then we should not expect a life free from the opinions of others. What matters is not whether everyone approves of you, but whether you are striving to earn the pleasure of Allah through sincerity, honesty, and good character. When you realize that your identity is built upon your relationship with Allah, a beautiful confidence begins to grow within you. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself to everyone or seek constant praise. You become content knowing that Allah sees every good deed, even when no one else notices. Continue to help others, even if they never thank you. You continue to speak the truth, even when it is unpopular. You continue to worship Allah, even if others mock your commitment, because your reward is with Him alone. Real confidence is not arrogance, nor is it believing you are better than others. True confidence is trusting that Allah created you with wisdom, that He loves those who turn to Him sincerely, and that your value increases through faith, righteous deeds, humility, and obedience. Once your heart understands this reality, the opinions of people lose their power over you. Stop chasing acceptance from the creation and begin seeking acceptance from the Creator. And that is where lasting peace, dignity, and strength are found. One of the most valuable lessons in life is learning where to invest your time and energy. Every day, Allah gives us 24 hours, and each moment is a gift that we will one day be asked about. Yet many people spend these precious hours thinking about who ignored them, who unfollowed them, who spoke against them, or why someone treated them unfairly. They become so focused on other people's lives that they forget to build their own. Days turn into weeks, and weeks turn into years, while their dreams remain untouched because their minds are occupied with matters that bring no benefit. A believer understands that life has a greater purpose than constantly seeking people's attention or approval. Allah did not create us to compete for popularity or to become prisoners of other people's opinions. He created us to worship Him, serve humanity, and strive for excellence in everything we do. Every moment spent worrying about someone else's actions is a moment that could have been used to gain knowledge, improve our character, strengthen our faith, or perform good deeds that will benefit us in this life and the hereafter. Look at the lives of successful and righteous people throughout history. They were not successful because they spent their days watching others or comparing themselves with everyone around them. They remained focused on their mission. They understood that distractions are one of the greatest obstacles to success. When your heart is constantly occupied with what others are doing, you lose sight of what Allah expects from you. Instead of making progress, you become stuck in cycles of comparison, jealousy, regret, and frustration. One of the greatest blessings Allah gives a servant is clarity of purpose. When you know why you are living, unnecessary distractions begin to lose their attraction. You wake up with goals that are greater than seeking compliments or worrying about criticism. Your priority becomes improving your relationship with Allah, fulfilling your responsibilities, helping your family, serving your community, and becoming a person of beneficial character. This kind of focus brings peace because your attention is directed toward things that truly matter. There will always be people who misunderstand you, leave you, or disappoint you. That is part of life, and it has always been that way. But you do not have to allow their choices to determine your future. Every setback can become an opportunity to grow closer to Allah. Every disappointment can motivate you to become stronger, wiser, and more grateful. Instead of asking why someone walked away from your life, ask yourself how you can become a better servant of Allah today. Instead of counting who failed to support you, count the countless blessings that Allah has already placed in your life. The more you focus on your purpose, the less room there is for unnecessary worries. Your heart becomes occupied with remembrance of Allah instead of endless overthinking. Your mind becomes busy with learning, working, and improving rather than comparing yourself with others. You begin to understand that your journey is unique and that Allah has written a different test and a different path for every individual. Trust His plan, continue moving forward with sincerity, and use every day as an opportunity to become the person Allah created you to be. When your life is centered around purpose instead of people, you will discover a level of peace, confidence, and fulfillment that no human approval can ever provide.